Now, there's actually two effects in After Effects to control hue and saturation. There's the Hue Saturation effect with its channel range, hue, saturation, lightness sliders, and there's Color Balance HLS. This looks nothing like the normal color balance effect, but you again have hue, lightness, and saturation with a much cleaner interface. You also have individual stopwatches for hue, lightness, and saturation, a feature that is missing from the other hue saturation effect. This makes it a bit easier to keyframe and a lot easier to use it with expressions. So what are the differences? Why wouldn't you just use this one instead? Well, here's why. I've got a split screen set up here with hue saturation on the left and color balance HLS on the right. Let's RAM preview. As saturation increases during the course's composition, you'll notice that the version on the right, color balance HLS, gets a lot harsher looking and a lot more cartoony looking a lot faster compared to the version on the left. I'll park it at an intermediate point here so we can study. This is because they're treating saturation differently. When you increase saturation with the hue saturation effect, it's in essence scaling the saturation values of the pixels that are already there. However, when you increase saturation with the color balance HLS effect, it's adding to the saturation of those pixels rather than scaling them. So with the hue saturation effect, if the pixels did not have a lot of saturation in the first place, like these distant mountains, they won't get much saturation later on. It keeps a more natural balance. With color balance HLS, even if things were not saturated to begin with, when you increase its saturation, they're going to get saturation, and it results in a less realistic looking shot. So this is a reason that I use hue saturation a lot more often than color balance HLS. I'll only use color balance HLS if I really need to drive an expression that specifically alters the hue of a shot. I can directly wire to hue in this effect. I cannot do that with the hue saturation effect where everything's bundled underneath the channel range keyframe. And that's the differences between the two.